Hey, what's going on? Happy Friday, everyone. So welcome to day 3 of the 30 videos in 30-day challenge. So what I thought we'd dive into today is a little bit of a mindset topic off the back of my own experience from yesterday. So I got a really harsh reminder of some of the frustrations that I've actually faced in the last 4 years that I've been online. And it took me back to when I was actually building out the majority of the Hunters Content Bootcamp course. Yesterday's topic was the breakdown on how you actually win an affiliate contest. And if you haven't caught it already, feel free to subscribe to my channel and come and join me as I go through the next 30 days on different topics all around building an online business. So the recording from yesterday was plus minus 18 minutes long, and then the real fun began, right? So the recordings are being housed in 3 places currently that I had to get the video uploaded to. So the first one being the Hunters Content Bootcamp support group, the second being my YouTube channel, and the third being Google Drive. Now the upload to Facebook was done with the data on my actual phone and took a total of 1 hour and 30 minutes. Google Drive was also done off my phone and off the data and happened in a whopping hour. And then YouTube. Well, I almost lost the will to live by around 10:30 p.m. last night. And when the final update actually came through, it had loaded after 3 hours. So a video of this quality and size anywhere else in the world will load probably sub 10 minutes, which is actually crazy to think about what I would actually be able to do with those kind of resources. But some real talk for you all this morning is that I did not want to continue this series today. I really didn't, because this will be a repeat scenario for the rest of the month. But normally commitment works with doing what you said you would do long after the mood that you actually set it in. So we'll press on. Nothing like a bit of solid character building. Because of the situation and challenges out this way, the positives are that I've really had to keep things super simple and lean in the business. And for a big chunk of time, the business was not profitable. And so I had to learn to be super resourceful with what I had available to actually build things out. So some of you would have heard bits of this story already, but I wanted to do a recap on a few of the things so that folks who are newer to my audience or just getting started on their own journey can get some insights on how simple this can actually be, especially at the beginning, but also that it's easy to buy into our own excuses and fall to pieces when challenges arise, which I can guarantee they will all throughout your journey. You don't need fancy tools, you don't need tech. It's not necessary to run with fancy funnels or pay huge sums in ads. There are less than a handful of things you need to actively execute on to build things long-term in the business. And you'll hear me talk about these over and over again. I hammer it hard in my content, I hammer it hard in videos such as these. But, the things you really need to be actively doing in your business is creating some form of content somewhere on the internet, right? You have to be building relationships and you have to be proactively making offers, So here's a few of the things I personally have encountered that I could have easily used to stop this progress altogether. Tell myself and everyone else that it's too hard and go back to a job environment, get underpaid, get undervalued, give up and say that it's just not for me, start preaching it's a scam and doesn't work, and bargain my way out of this commitment. But it's just not in my character to do so. So the very first year in my business, I operated with an old ass laptop, right? I think I got it when I was in a previous business in 2012. The operating system was slow, and to get it to work, I actually had to attach an external keyboard and keep it plugged in because I didn't have the money to actually get a new battery, right? The camera was shocking, so is the microphone. So the very first lives I attempted are still hard to look back on, if I'm honest. I actually ran a full 7-day live challenge in my group just because I wanted to prove that no matter your circumstances, you can still get shit done. Never mind the popcorn internet, but there's still folks in my group today who were there from the very beginning that can vouch how bad it actually was. And I've since been given a hand-me-down from my mom, which I still use today. It by no means is a top of the range machine, but it does the job. Major upgrade from the one I actually started with, that's for sure. And the same situation with my phone, right? I'm blessed to have my mom, because over the last few years, when she's actually upgraded, she's given me her model, which are still fancy as phones. I actually have this iPhone 7 before I had the iPhone 6, and what I'm recording on at the moment is actually an iPhone 12. And this is the only device I actually use for recording videos. I use it to do all of my edits, for adding all of my captions, for loading onto different platforms. So there's no need to go and purchase a 10K studio so you can look like $1 million creator, right? Truth is, none of that really matters, especially at the beginning. I use rocks in the garden as tripods. I use ladders to get different angles and different heights. And you can get really resourceful without a huge capital investment or complicating your whole process by adding even more tools and tech, right? During the worst periods of the last 4 years, there are days and weeks where we had absolutely no electricity. I think the record for me was actually 13 days straight with no power. And although we have a generator, it's not always on. And so I learned how to capitalize on small pockets of time, which you'll also hear me hammer hard all over the internet. So I've got a process now which I can really execute in a 2-hour period. And I'm not by any means saying that you can start your business and really start to get a profitable return with just 2 hours of work a day. There's a lot more to it. But as you kind of build things out and optimize things, you can really work on a process that's going to work, no matter whether you show up for the business or not. So I created as much content as possible when devices were on. So, when there was no power, I was creating things like my short form videos, my long form written content, different resources, templates, trainings, offers, things like that. And then when electricity was actually on, I would use that time to build relationships over in the DMs and actively make offers that I was creating. Because I had very little flexibility in this regard, it meant that I had to keep ultra focused on implementing only the things that count towards progress in the business. Right, and our internet is also a nightmare, as I've mentioned and will continue to mention. So while I leave things in the background loading, the rest of the time is spent executing on other parts of the process. Right, so my record on a short form video was a load time of 3 hours, and I think it was for one of those 7-second videos. And to take note that I also repurpose all over the place. So I've had really frustrating moments where even to load a short form video has been really challenging. But I have found ways around this over the years. Right, I found better data solutions. We've got a small inverter system so that if the generator is not working, we can actually still run the internet. So, I'm a firm believer that you can either find a way with anything in your life, or you can go ahead and find an excuse, but you really just can't do both, right? So your business is going to need that monetary investment as well. So folks, that's another level of resource here as well. We don't get finance. There's absolutely no credit options. It's cash or nothing for most things. And even if you can, the interest rates are just astronomical. So it's not even worth thinking about. So when I plugged into my first $2,500 course, there was only pay in full available at the time. It wasn't payment plans like you can actually get now. And I had to sell shit I no longer needed to generate enough dollars to start my business, right? I took another loan from my family in 2022 when I wanted to plug into Group Juice because things were still not profitable in my business 2 years later, and I was really struggling, and I kind of knew that if I didn't take another investment and try and go another route, that I may as well just pull out of the business altogether. And I've made a promise to myself to continue to invest in upgrading my skills as you go through so many different levels in your business, and at least there's payment options available now. So it's here's just a handful of things that you could also experience as you start and continue to build things out in your own business. So I bet at this point you're saying throughout all of this, right, okay Sean, but when things are really tough, like a 6-hour load time on one video for a challenge in your business, what keeps you going for it? How is it that you keep showing up? Folks, you have to get really clear on why you're doing this, right? Why did you start your online journey? Where did you actually want to go now and in the future? What's your actual long-term goal with everything? Because when you get really clear on those things, then nothing gets in the way of it, right? You'll bulldoze through your excuses, your imposter syndrome, your self-doubt, and I'm not saying these things won't exist anymore, because they don't ever truly go away. We're only human after all. So I think we're all going through this human experience, but you get better at identifying where you are, okay, and also having the right attitude to navigate through those harder times. And it's really very clear to me at the end of the day, I never want to go back to a previous version of who I was, throughout those circumstances. I never want to be in a place where I actually have to ask anyone for anything again. In a traditional sense, I had to ask someone when I could eat, when I could actually go home at night, when I actually had to leave home in the morning, right? What I can actually do on the weekends, and if I can do anything on the weekends outside of a working environment, what special occasions I actually get to show up for, what I have to wear in daylight hours, what my earning cap will be for the rest of my life, when I actually get to go on holiday. Just those few things are enough motivation for me personally to keep showing up. And outside of that, I think that building and designing a business you're in tune with is a really refreshing part of the journey, right? Because you get to decide how you work, okay, where you actually going to work from, who you actually work with, how much you earn, because there is no earning cap when you're actually upgrading your skills and putting in the effort, right? And really focus on things that you really enjoy, rather than just having to show up because it's a job or a business that gives you money. Having options and a choice, there really is nothing quite like it. So I'll leave you with this today, folks. Take a moment and think about the excuses that you've been using in your own business and in your own world, right? All the reasons you're actually stopping yourself from reaching your full potential, okay? And then take another moment and find a determining factor why you want and need to show up for yourself and your family in this regard. And then lastly, get to work, right? The only thing that stops us is normally this thing between our ears. So take ownership of that, right? And go build the life that you're actually dreaming about. So I hope this helps. I look forward to diving into day 4 tomorrow. Now let me get started on this long process to get this up and loaded for you all. So yeah, wish me luck, and we'll soldier on. But cheers for now and have a good rest of your day.